Hey, it's another week, another recipe, and we're making the easiest homemade cottage cheese straight out of the 1940s that tastes exactly like store-bought, only better. Come join me. Hey everyone, welcome back to my kitchen. My name's Courtney Morris, and I cook history's forgotten recipes out of random cookbooks I find, sometimes websites, and sometimes submission from you guys, which are always super fun and appreciated. If you're new here, thank you for joining me, and if you are coming back for more, hello again. I'm back. It took a little hiatus, but I am glad you're here, and I hope you enjoy this recipe. Okay, so I am back after what seems like a hiatus that took forever, between no water in my kitchen to weeks of illness, like norovirus type illness, to having to travel out of state for funerals, and my goodness sakes, and everything else that goes on in life. So now I feel like life has given me a little bit of a reprieve. I am back on schedule and back doing what I love. I actually am having fun today. I don't feel like I've had fun in the past, 5 weeks? Thank you for being patient with me. I have enjoyed responding to your guys' comments even while I've been on hiatus, and we're back. And so, also, apology for the lighting. I have a gigantor skylight. It's finally kind of sunny, and my light that offsets this light just died, so I might be completely washed out, but whatever. We're gonna cook anyways. So, we're going back to my Searchlight cookbook because I was perusing this the other day, because that's just what I do. I just like looking at old cookbooks and stuff. And I came across the cheese section. Now, this is the cheese section on how to cook with cheese, like cheese stew, cheese dreams, cheese cake, cheese with rice, you know, all that kind of stuff. But at the very top of the first page in this section is cottage cheese. And I have been trying to figure out when I'm gonna have time to try to get into cheese making, because I've always wanted to do it. So I stocked up on rennet tablets and never did anything with them. So I'm gonna put those to good use and try to make some cottage cheese. It shouldn't be too hard. I figure like this is gonna be like the easiest jumping off point into cheese making possibly. So let's do it. Okay, so I just got everything out. Started reading the ingredients, and somehow I missed that I needed cream for this. So I had to go quick make a mock cream, if you will. I'm really good at planning out things and looking 2 steps ahead on a lot of things, but some things I really suck at. So it causes me to be resourceful, so I am not cheating. I am being a 1940s housewife using my resources. So if you need a mock cream, you just take milk and cornstarch, and then just simmer it. Do not boil this because it will get gravy and then pudding after a while. And just simmer it until it gets to the consistency of cream. This is my cream. I'm going to put it in the fridge to cool it down a little bit. And then obviously it's going to thicken up just slightly as it cools off. And as it does, I can add more milk to make it a little more creamier if needed. But really, we're only using a little bit. If you've ever had cottage cheese, you'll know there's a cream base that makes it not really dry and pebbly. So I'm going to cool this off. Now, as far as whipping cream goes, that is not a good substitute for like a pie topping. It's more of a cooking cream, if you will. You will not get good results. You can froth it, but why? It's just not going to do that. It's more for cooking. So, back to the original thing here. We are going to take, I'm going to half this recipe. 1 quart of milk. Okay, so it says heat milk to lukewarm. All right, so we need, I'm making a mess. 4, okay, and then the original says 2 rennet tablets. I only need 1 since I'm halving it. So it says heat milk to lukewarm and then dissolve a rennet tablet in cold water. So I need a tablespoon of cold water, and I'm using the Junket brand rennet tablet for making cheese, ice cream, and sugar-free custard. I've had these for, well, not for that long. They're not expired, but even if they were, I'm not sure it would do anything. But good to finally use it. We have a 6-stall barn that we're not quite using yet because it is just filled with things from the previous owner. So we're working on cleaning it up and getting things out of there and trying to figure out what we're going to do with it, because it was originally set up for horses, but we are not doing horses. So I would love to make one of those stalls a cheese making room. It's kind of been one of my daydreams, with, you know, a 1940s kitchen stall and maybe some, I don't know. There's a lot I want to do with it, but, you know, for now I will be relegated to making cheese here. Okay, so I have dissolved my rennet tablet. But now I have to wait for this to become lukewarm. And lukewarm is like if you've ever done a lukewarm bath or dishes where it's just not hot enough, but it's warm enough to put your entire hand in and be fine. That's almost lukewarm. And in the meantime, my cream has been nicely cooled and has a lovely cream texture. So I don't think I'm going to be using all of this, but I can use the rest of it, whatever I don't use, in, I don't know, a sauce or something. It'll freeze well enough. Okay, that is lukewarm right now, and then it says to add it to the milk. It doesn't say to take off the heat. Heat milk to lukewarm, dissolve rennet tablet in cold water, add to milk, let stand in a warm place until set. Okay, so that tells me that I'm turning off the heat here. Because otherwise, yeah, why would you get it lukewarm if you're going to keep it on the burner? Okay, so if you ever get one of these, they're fantastic, but spend a little money on it. I cheaped out a little bit on this one, and it gets hot. Like, I'm scared it's just going to melt itself one of these days. Okay, so I'm going to add that in. I'm going to stir it around, and then we are going to just let it do its thing. Okay, so one thing about this rennet, the Junket brand, it is plant-based. Normal rennet is from the interior of a calf's stomach, and that's the old way of doing things. So normally it wouldn't be a plant-based thing, but these are vegetarian friendly, provided you drink milk. But I think you can also use it in oat milk and other milks. I believe this is just kind of a thickener. I have seen, however, you can use vinegar as well to kind of curdle the milk a little more, but quite honestly, I've never tried it. The most experience I have ever had in cheese making has been accidentally kicking a sippy cup under the couch and leaving it for a while and finding it. I don't know if that's yogurt or cheese, but it was nasty. It's cottage cheese. There's going to be curds, which means that this is going to just get thick. And I've seen cheese be made enough to know that it does get thick. So we're just gonna stick it over there, and I will see you back hopefully soon. I can't imagine this is gonna take forever. Okay, so I went to go turn off my camera and decided to look at the instructions and had to come on and tell you the Junket packet comes with recipes for feta, cream cheese, ricotta cheese, basic hard cheese, American mozzarella, ice cream, sugar-free vanilla rennet custard, and cottage cheese. I might have to start. Okay, to the makers at Junket, thank you. I think I might start with this. I wonder what basic hard cheese is, though. We shall find out. Not today, but another day. Okay, just had to let you know. I'll be back. Okay, so it said to put in a warm place for, well, until it curdled or set, and I was looking at the modern instructions and it said 12 to 18 hours, so I stuck it in front of our blower fireplace, and I don't know if you can see that, but it is setting up quite nicely. It's not moving, so I'm just going to let it sit for a little longer, and it's only been, I think, about 20 minutes, so life hack perhaps. Also, just thought I'd know, I was reading the directions for cottage cheese from the Junket package, and it is a lot more involved in this method than it is in the old method. Okay, so I am a little excited and a little apprehensive because it kind of looks exactly like what I found in those sippy cups under the fridge. Doesn't smell nearly anything like it, which is really good. It's not soured. By the way, I forgot to mention, this is called sweet milk cottage cheese, and sweet milk versus sour milk, historically speaking, sweet milk meant good milk, soured milk meant soured milk. So if you see that, that's the distinction in if it calls for sweet milk. It just means regular, it doesn't mean sugar. This set up quite nicely. I mean, it looks like yogurt. I mean, there's a separation between milk and whey. Since I have never done this, I kind of found a little hint in my modern instructions that came with the Junket that says, to test for a firm curd, remove a sample at a point near the edge of a saucepan with a spoon. The curd is ready to cut when coagulated milk holds its shape and the edges are sharply defined. It doesn't tell you that bit. I'm assuming people just knew that. So check that out. It holds its shape edges are clearly defined. We are ready to go. Now, I was going to use my jelly bag for straining, but I don't know where that is. I got to get a new one before fruit season. So I'm just using a strainer with a cloth, and I'm going to stick it in not that bowl. I thought that was big enough. So of course I go to the biggest bowl that I can find because my other big bowls, I forgot where's in the fridge. So now it says to pour into a thin cloth bag and drain. Ah, it's going everywhere. Ah! Okay, so now we just wait for it to drain. Now what's draining out is called whey, and this is the part that I never understood with little Miss Muffet who sat on her tuffet eating curds and whey. It's like, why aren't... I just saw curds and whey in there. It did not look very appetizing, so I don't know what on earth she was eating, but whatever. All right, so all it says is drain and remove curd from bag, break into fine pieces, and moisten with cream. Okay, so I do not want to hold this the whole time, so I'm going to rubber band this off and hang it. This is an old-fashioned method that's been around for a while, so people didn't have to stand here and wait. This is where the jelly bag really comes in handy because it pretty much has an auto gravity drip, but in my case, I'm just going to have to tie a string to my cabinet. And make sure it stays in the bowl. Yeah. And we're just going to let that drip until it can drip no more. Help it along a little bit because that's quite a bit. We'll be here for a month of Sundays. Also, I do know, I can't remember where I heard this, but it was from a reputable source that if you use Lactaid or any Lactaid products with this, the rennet will not do anything. So you can't, unfortunately, make lactose tolerant cheese from at least a rennet tablet. I'm sure there's other ways of doing it, but it's crazy how much water content is actually in milk. I wonder if this is any cheaper right now than actually buying cottage cheese, because I decided to try this out because I didn't want to spend money for cottage cheese. I'm gonna have to do the math on that because I don't know. It's starting to look like after all the whey is extracted that we are going to be looking at maybe a cup, which isn't that much for 4 cups of milk. I'm going to clean up a little bit, and by the time that happens, I think we'll be ready for the next step. Okay, so with me squeezing it and helping it along, it went pretty quick. I think it only took 5 minutes. Granted, it is a small amount, so we're just going to take this off and see what happens. Okay, so there is my cheese, and now it says to break up the curds. It's looking like cottage cheese. I mean, it's a little more, and I don't know if me squeezing it had anything to do with it. I'm going to put that into the bowl and get it out of there. I'm pretty sure I had something to do with that. Maybe that's how you make mozzarella, because look at, I've already made kind of a stringy mozzarella, or stringy cheese. Oh well. Okay, anyways. So it says to break into fine pieces. I don't want them too fine, but... And then it says to moisten with cream and season to taste. So I'm going to take my mock cream. Now, I wish I had real cream for this, but, you know, yay, planning ahead. If this works, I'm going to be so happy. Okay, and then it says season with salt, pepper, and paprika. I'm just going to do salt and pepper because I don't particularly like anything in my cottage cheese except pepper. I do know you do have to salt your cheese, though, so I don't know how much it's supposed to do. Oh, I should measure this and see how much it actually made. I'm going to pepper it first. Oh, smaller pepper. I highly recommend, if you want a really flavorful pepper, this McCormick, hold on. It's the McCormick Peppercorn Medley Grinder. It's got black, pink, green, white peppercorns with coriander and allspice in it. It is a fantastic flavor. It's so good. Before I try it, I'm gonna see how much we actually got. A 1/4 gallon gets you half a cup. So if you use a whole gallon of milk, you'll get 2 cups of cottage cheese. I'm not a fan of warm cottage cheese, so I'm gonna put it in the freezer for a few minutes and let it chill, and then I'll tell you how it tastes. This is cooled off now. Let's try it. It's cottage cheese. I just made cottage cheese. I made a cheese that isn't from under my couch and disgusting. I'm very, okay. I'm really pleased with myself. I'm very proud of myself right now because I know it's not hard, but it's like, it's new. It's a new territory. And like, I'm a big lover of cheese, and just the fact that this turned out and it was so simple. So simple. Like, really, well, you saw, stupid easy. I don't know if the big long instructions for modern day stuff that includes more heat and cold water and immersion makes a difference, because this is fabulous. I'm so excited. But that being said, I now have a lot of whey to deal with, and I know I can do something with it. I just have to figure out what. I feel like I've come across recipes that call for whey. That might be a ye old Google search. Do I recommend this? Heck yes. Do this. It's so easy. These are pretty cheap too. I am so excited about this. This has made my little day today. I'm so excited. So if you are still here with me, thank you so much for hanging out with me to the end and choosing to spend a little time in my kitchen with me. I love having you here. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button and join the community. We have a lot of fun here now that I am back in action. I've got some good ones coming up for you, I hope. Please feel free to leave me a recipe or a comment, or I'll put my email right here in the description below. If you would like to send me a recipe that you find, you can just scan it in and send it over. I have a couple of those I'm sifting through right now that I think we'll be doing here in a few weeks. And I will, of course, leave the recipe for this in the description below. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. And if you would like to spend some more time with me in my kitchen today, please click this link right here. And I hope you enjoy that recipe as well. All right, now that we're back in action, I will see you next week. I promise. All right, bye.